Welcome to the Lorcana Twins YouTube channel. On this episode, we are talking about so many spoilers, and I do mean a lot of spoilers because we have been gifted by Lorcana with many reveals lately, and so we are going to dive right into those new cards.
That's right, and we will kick things off with Ariel, who's it collector. She's a 4-cost, non-inkable, 3/3 stat line with 1 lore, and she has an ability. Look at this stuff. So we're going to take a look at that ability. It says, whenever you play an item, you may ready this character. So her stats for costing 4 aren't the best, but it's really that ability that might take this card over the top. Whenever you play an item, you can ready her. So perhaps you could combo this with a Maurice deck. If you've got him in play, every time you play an item, you get to draw a card. So, you could keep that engine running, play a card, maybe you quested with Ariel to begin with, then you ready your quest again as many times as your hand size and ink will allow. And so, there's a lot of gnarly combos that could maybe be pulled off with her. And also, just one more thing to note, she could synergize in a Moana princess deck since she has that princess keyword. And I love the art, so that is a strong card to kick things off with.
Now we are moving on to Simba, Future King. He has an inkable 1 cost in steel. He's got that 1 strength and 2 willpower. He's a storyborn hero prince, and his effect is guess what? So when you play Simba, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So this is a way to cycle through your deck a little more. You can see your next card, and then you can get rid of something in your hand that maybe you had a lot of uninkable cards that were, kind of clunky, and so you could get rid of one of those and replace it with the card that you just drew. So he gives you some, some good ways to kind of shape your hand. He's not the best stat-wise because you can play 1 costs that are like 2/2s, but he does bring this strong effect to your deck, and I think he's definitely worth considering including in your steel deck.
Yes, and definitely one of my favorite arts I've seen so far. And now we have Peter Pan, Never Landing. He is an inkable 3-cost, 3 strength, 2 willpower character, Dreamborn hero, and he has 1 lore, and he has the evasive keyword. So for that stat line and the cost, I think it's maybe a little understated, but that evasive will help keep him safe from a lot of other threats and characters that don't have evasive themselves. I think he's definitely weak to the Fire the Cannons card, which is kind of thematic with the movie since that's related to Captain Hook. I mean, for the cost of 1, that Fire the Cannons could deal the 2 damage to take him out. So a little weak there. But just an interesting evasive option for Emerald. And maybe we'll see, higher costed Peter Pan that could be shifted on top of this one. I'm kind of holding out hope for like a legendary Peter Pan or something, but I really love the art on this one too. And definitely with, Peter Pan's color scheme fits right in there in the emerald ink.
Next up, we have Zeus, who is a great, powerful character from the Hercules film. This version, however, I am not thinking is going to be too strong. He does have the nice rush keyword, so he's 4-cost uninkable, 0 strength, unless when you're challenging, he gets that challenger +4. So if you play this on your turn, you can rush in, immediately challenge an exerted character, and swing for 4 strength, 4 willpower. However, the downsides here are that it's not inkable, and when he's on defense, he will only have 0 strength. So it'll be very easy for your opponent to then, on their turn, kind of finish him off with whatever they've got still in play. He does have 2 willpower, so if he manages to stick around, you could try to use him for questing again. However, it might be best in that case to just kind of wait to get another trade off with him because he will have 4 when he is attacking, and again, he does nothing on defense. But was really excited to see another Hercules character in the game. I love the art on this one. Zeus is very aggressively kind of leaning into the frame, and then he's got those thunderbolts and the clouds framing him very nicely. So
those lightning bolts in holographic will be looking pretty sweet. But now we are moving on to Stitch in a legendary variation here with Carefree Surfer, 7-cost inkable amber card with 4 strength and 8 willpower and 2 lore. And then he has an ability, Ohana, which says when you play this character, if you have 2 or more other characters in play, you may draw 2 cards. So this ability is looking amazing to me right off the bat. I think card draw is so important in Lorcana from what we've seen so far. And, there's not like a ton of card draw options that have been revealed, so this one is looking very strong. As long as you've got 2 other characters in play, you will be able to draw 2 cards. So not only does the Stitch replace itself while putting a 4/8 threat on the board, but it also helps you go up another card by getting that second card draw to hand. So looks very cool. Love the Stitch character, so it's sweet to see him in this legendary version. And yeah, maybe he'll synergize well with the Rockstar Stitch card that we have already seen revealed. But very cool looking card here.
And next up we have Rapunzel. So she is a 6 cost, not inkable. She's letting down her hair in this photo and using it as a weapon. Her ability is Tangle. When you play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. She herself has 2 lore on her, and she is a 5/4 stat line. Interesting thing about Rapunzel is, unless your game would have been lost had your opponent had 1 more lore, then her effect really doesn't help you because she doesn't affect what's in play on the board. But there will be those games where that 1 lore might make the difference. I think it's probably not going to happen a lot, so I think considering putting this in your deck when it's not inkable, and it might kind of be clogging your hand in the early game if this kind of gets stuck there. And I don't think her stats are that great for the 6 cost, but with the right princess build perhaps, she might get some extra value. Like 2 lore is not bad, especially if you have Moana and can quest for, you at least get a challenge in, or you get your quest in first, and then you use Moana, and then you can get a challenge after that, or just leave her safe so that she can get 2 lore again the next turn. There's ways you might get advantage from Rapunzel, but personally I think I probably won't be looking to put this in too many of my Ruby decks. I think there's just probably going to be better options for 6 cost, but great to see another princess in Ruby here.
And perhaps if you do include it in a deck, maybe it's a 2 of, not a 4 of, so it's less likely to clog your hand, because the ability could come in clutch in some games. But yeah, you hope you don't have games that are too close that you're relying on this to save your game. But yeah, just another option in case they have a unit on board that you can't remove and that they could use to quest to 20 without this ability. So
yeah, the Ruby Aladdin right now, he helps you kind of steal some lore back from your opponent, and Rapunzel's just kind of another way to kind of set them back. So definitely a deck archetype to consider, doing some lore stealing. But for now, I think there just might be better options, but we'll have to see when the full set's revealed.
Yep. And now here is Sven, who is a vanilla card at 6 cost, 5 strength, and 7 willpower with just a single lore. So right away I kind of compare this to the Cerberus card, which costs 5 ink and 5 ink, and then has also the same strength at 5, but only 1 less willpower at 6. So personally I don't feel like I would be too excited about paying an extra ink here just to get that 1 extra willpower. So I don't know how much play Sven will actually see, unless maybe this amethyst ink doesn't have a whole lot of other options to fill this slot. But yeah, just for being a vanilla, I think maybe the stats, it's just maybe a little too high costed. But at least the art is very nice and reflective of that Frozen movie. Really like the art there. Sven's looking pretty happy and pleased with his ice delivery.
And now we are moving on to Maui. Maui is another vanilla card, so he has no effect. He's 8 ink to play him. He is inkable, and he has 8 strength and 8 willpower. So he's a very, very beefy character. The 3 lore on him is also very nice. The question is, though, will games go long enough, and will you be able to get enough ink to really take advantage of this, or will he kind of be too slow to come into play? I think, in a top deck situation, or where if you've kind of kept your opponent's board clear, if suddenly you have an 8/8 and they don't have any removal in hand, this can absorb many hits. So you may be able to quest several turns, quickly reaping 3, 6, 9 lore, like that. And at this point in the game, too, most players probably have a decent amount of lore, so that 3 lore could help you quickly get towards your 20 that you need to win. So I think there's some potential upside to playing this. It's just going to come down to, will the meta play too fast, where Maui is just too little too late? or will we be able to play some long grindier games where a nice 8/8 can come down and really threaten the opponent? So, but love to see this Maui card. We expected to see him in the game, and I still think there will be another Maui, probably an Amber, kind of to fit with that just-in-time card. Likely he costs maybe 5, and possibly has like bodyguard to protect Moana and the princess faction. But just some speculation here. Like to see this card. It looks pretty good too. So.
Yes, absolutely. And next we have Goofy Musketeer. So we had already seen a Mickey Musketeer card in the game. Had a sense that there would be more coming, and here is one of the other two. With Goofy, he's a 5-cost, inkable, 3 strength, 6 willpower character. He has bodyguard, 1 lore, and then an ability called N2 for T, which says when you play this character, you may remove up to 2 damage from each of your Musketeer characters. So just to take a look at the Mickey Mouse Musketeer card here as well, costs 6, has a 2/7 stat line, and 2 lore, also bodyguard. Now the interesting thing is Mickey will buff the Goofy because it says your other Musketeer characters get 1 strength. So, if you already have Goofy on board and then you drop down Mickey, all of a sudden, it's a little surprise to your opponent and your Goofy becomes a 4/6 instead of a 3/6. And, if you've got Goofy exerted and he's soaking up damage in his bodyguard form, that's some pretty decent damage that he'll be dishing out while he protects the rest of your units. So, they'll really have to invest heavy to clear them out. And, maybe you have Mickey down first, and he soaks up some damage, and then you drop Goofy, and you're able to heal damage off of Mickey with Goofy's ability. And, of course, you could also have multiple Goofys and Mickeys in your deck or on the board, just buffing each other up and healing each other. And, we've yet to see that presumably 3rd Musketeer, and whether or not it will be in one of these 2 inks, which would allow you to play all 3 in the same deck, and even increase their synergies from there. So I think there's a lot of potential. And as you can see, Goofy here, it has a promo symbol on the card because there will be a promo version of this available at an upcoming convention. So that's cool to note for anyone looking to collect that. Otherwise, he will also be available in regular standard booster packs.
Yeah, so those are the spoilers we've got recently, and Lorcana's really been ramping up in their reveals of late. And, hopefully we're going to continue to see this kind of speed of reveals, because it's certainly more fun and building more hype to be able to learn a little bit more about what's going to be in the game and what we can be excited to open when the game comes out in August.
Yeah, I think the more we see, the more excited I just get to start coming up with deck ideas and getting excited to open the packs and eventually put the decks together and get some matches in. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm sure a lot of you are as well. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we are curious to see what reveals are just around the corner.
Yeah, so have a nice weekend, everyone, and
yes.
We will be back soon with more Lorcana reveals to discuss.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Yep, take care.